Imagine standing on a wall so vast. It disappears beyond the mountains, beyond the horizon, almost beyond belief. For more than 2,000 years, the Great Wall of China has stood as one of the most extraordinary structures ever built by human hands. Millions of people visit it every year. Billions know its name, but almost no one knows its real story. Because the Great Wall wasn't simply built to keep enemies out. It wasn't built by one emperor, and one of its most famous legends isn't true at all. Behind every ancient stone lies a story of war, of impossible ambition, of unimaginable sacrifice, and of a civilization determined to survive against overwhelming odds. This isn't just the story of the world's greatest wall. It's the story of the people who built it, the empire that depended on it, and the truth that history almost buried beneath its stones. So, how did an idea born from fear become one of humanity's greatest achievements? Let's go back more than 2,000 years, to where the story truly begins. To understand why the Great Wall was built, we must travel back more than 2,000 years, to a time when China didn't exist as a single nation. Instead of one powerful empire, the land was divided into several rival kingdoms. Each had its own ruler, its own army, and its own ambition to dominate the others. Peace was rare. War was constant. For generations, these kingdoms fought brutal battles over land, resources, and power. Entire cities were destroyed. Thousands of soldiers lost their lives, and ordinary families lived with the fear that another war could begin at any moment. Historians know this era as the Warring States period, one of the most violent chapters in ancient Chinese history. But while the kingdoms fought each other, another danger was growing beyond China's northern frontier. Across the vast grasslands lived powerful nomadic tribes, skilled horsemen who could travel incredible distances with remarkable speed. Unlike the kingdoms of China, these warriors didn't rely on fortified cities. Their strength was mobility. They could strike without warning, raid border settlements, seize livestock and supplies, and disappear long before defending armies could catch them. Protecting thousands of kilometers of open frontier became an impossible challenge. No kingdom had enough soldiers to guard every mountain pass, every valley, and every stretch of open land. So, one by one, several kingdoms began building defensive walls along their northern borders. These early walls were simple compared to the Great Wall we know today. Most were built from compacted earth, timber, and locally available stone. They were never intended to become one continuous wall. Each kingdom built only what it needed to defend its own territory. At the time, no one could have imagined that these scattered defenses would one day become the foundation of one of the greatest engineering achievements in human history. Then, everything changed. In 221 BC, one ruler achieved what had once seemed impossible. He conquered every rival kingdom, united China for the very first time, and made a decision that would transform those isolated walls into the beginning of a legend. The year was 221 BC. After decades of relentless warfare, one kingdom finally emerged victorious. Its ruler, King Zheng of Qin, defeated every rival state and accomplished something no one before him had ever achieved. For the first time in history, much of China was united under a single empire. From that moment on, King Zheng became known as Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. His vision reached far beyond the battlefield. He introduced a unified system of writing, standardized weights and measures, and built roads that connected distant parts of his empire. But despite these remarkable achievements, one threat still kept the emperor awake at night. The empire's northern frontier remained dangerously exposed. Beyond the border, powerful nomadic groups continued to launch sudden raids, attacking villages and disappearing before imperial armies could respond. Qin Shi Huang understood that defeating rival kingdoms was only the beginning. Keeping the empire secure would be an even greater challenge. Rather than building an entirely new wall from the ground up, the emperor ordered his generals and engineers to repair, strengthen, and connect many of the older defensive walls that already existed. Where gaps separated them, new sections were constructed. Where older walls had weakened, they were reinforced. The goal was not to create a perfect barrier. The goal was to build a defensive frontier that could slow invasions, protect strategic routes, and give imperial armies enough time to respond. Construction began across mountains, valleys, and remote landscapes where no roads existed. Thousands of workers were sent north, then tens of thousands, and eventually many more. What had begun as scattered frontier defenses was slowly transforming into one of the most ambitious construction projects the ancient world had ever witnessed. But building a wall across some of the harshest landscapes on Earth would demand far more than vision. It would demand extraordinary endurance, relentless determination, and a human cost that history would never fully record. Imagine being ordered to build a wall across towering mountains, steep cliffs, vast deserts, and endless valleys, without cranes, bulldozers, or even a single modern machine. That was the challenge facing the people who built what would eventually become the Great Wall of China. Construction took place across some of the most unforgiving landscapes in Asia. Every stone had to be cut by hand. Every basket of earth had to be carried by people or transported by animals such as horses, oxen, and donkeys. There was no single blueprint. The wall changed with the land. In the mountains, builders carved massive stones from nearby quarries. Across the plains, they compressed layers of earth into thick defensive barriers using wooden frames and heavy hand tools. In the deserts of northwestern China, they used gravel, sand, reeds, and tamarisk branches, materials that were surprisingly durable in the dry climate. Centuries later, during the Ming Dynasty, engineers rebuilt many sections using carefully fired bricks and precisely cut stone blocks, creating the iconic wall that millions of visitors see today. But the Great Wall was never just a wall. At regular intervals, watchtowers rose above the landscape, allowing soldiers to observe the horizon for approaching enemies. These towers stored weapons, food, and supplies, while also serving as communication stations. If enemy forces appeared, smoke signals during the day and fire beacons at night could carry warnings from one tower to the next with remarkable speed. Long before telegraphs, radios, or satellites, the Great Wall formed one of the most sophisticated military communication systems of the ancient world. Its purpose was not to make invasion impossible. Its purpose was to delay attackers, protect key mountain passes, and give defending armies the precious time they needed to respond. With every passing generation, the wall grew longer, stronger, and more extraordinary. But while the structure continued to rise, the lives of the people building it became increasingly difficult. For many workers, the greatest battle wasn't against the enemy. It was against hunger, exhaustion, disease, and the unforgiving forces of nature. Great civilizations are often remembered for their greatest achievements. But behind every extraordinary achievement are ordinary people whose stories are rarely told. The Great Wall was no exception. Across different dynasties, hundreds of thousands of people worked on the wall over many centuries. Some were professional soldiers. Some were skilled craftsmen. Others were farmers, laborers, prisoners, or people sentenced to forced labor by the state. Many left their homes knowing they might not return for months or even years. For those working in the remote mountains, life was brutally difficult. They carried heavy stones across narrow mountain paths, dug foundations into solid rock, worked through freezing winters, and endured scorching summer heat. Food was often limited. Medical care was almost non-existent. Exhaustion, disease, accidents, and harsh weather claimed many lives throughout the centuries of construction. Exactly how many people died will probably never be known, because the Great Wall wasn't built during a single project. It was constructed, expanded, repaired, and rebuilt over nearly 2,000. Answered. Did the Great Wall actually succeed in protecting the empire it was built to defend? For centuries, the Great Wall stood as the northern shield of the Chinese Empire. Its watchtowers scanned the horizon. Its soldiers guarded the mountain passes. Its beacon fires carried warnings across vast distances long before an invading army could reach the heart of China. But after investing centuries of labor, resources, and sacrifice, did the Great Wall truly do what it was built to do? The answer is more complicated than a simple yes or no. The wall was never designed to make China impossible to invade. Instead, it was built to slow enemy forces, protect strategic passes, control important trade routes, and give imperial armies precious time to prepare for battle. In many cases, it achieved exactly that. Watchtowers and signal fires allowed military commanders to communicate with remarkable speed across enormous distances. Border checkpoints helped regulate trade, monitor movement, and strengthen the empire's control over its northern frontier. But no wall, no matter how massive, could defend an empire on its own. Throughout history, determined enemies found ways around it. Some crossed through mountain routes beyond heavily defended sections. Others exploited weakly guarded areas. And in some cases, the greatest threat came not from outside the wall, but from inside it. In 1644, one of the most decisive moments in Chinese history unfolded at Shanhai Pass. As a rebellion swept across the empire, Ming General Wu Sangue made a decision that would change the course of history. He opened the gates of Shanhai Pass and formed an alliance with the Manchu forces. Together, they entered China, defeated the rebel army, and soon afterward, the Manchus established the Qing dynasty, the last imperial dynasty in Chinese history. The Great Wall had not been destroyed. It had not been climbed. Its gates had simply been opened. That moment revealed a timeless truth. No fortress is stronger than the people who defend it. Even the greatest wall ever built cannot protect a nation divided from within. And perhaps no story surrounding the Great Wall is more famous than the belief that it can be seen from space. It's a claim repeated for generations. But astronauts and scientific observations have shown that, under normal conditions, the Great Wall is extremely difficult to see with the naked eye from low Earth orbit. From the moon, it cannot be seen without powerful optical equipment. Sometimes, the greatest myths are built not from stone, but from stories people choose to believe. Yet, even after separating myth from fact, the Great Wall remains one of the greatest achievements in human history. Not because it was perfect, but because it represented the determination of an entire civilization to protect its future. Today, however, The wall faces an enemy no emperor could have imagined: time itself. More than 2,000 years have passed since the first sections of the Great Wall were built. The empires that ordered its construction are long gone. The soldiers who once guarded its watchtowers have vanished into history. But the wall still remains, stretching across mountains, deserts, forests, and open plains. The Great Wall extends for more than 21,000 kilometers, making it the longest man-made defensive structure ever built. Yet time has left its mark. Not every section survived. Centuries of war, relentless wind and rain, earthquakes, erosion, and human activity have caused thousands of kilometers of the wall to disappear forever. Some remote sections have collapsed into ruins. Others have been slowly reclaimed by nature, hidden beneath grass, trees, and drifting desert sands. But many of the most famous sections have been carefully restored and protected. In 1987, UNESCO recognized the Great Wall of China as a World Heritage Site, honoring not only its extraordinary scale, but also its unmatched historical and cultural significance. Today, millions of visitors from every corner of the world climb its ancient stone pathways. They stand inside watchtowers once filled with soldiers, walk across mountain ridges where messengers once carried urgent warnings, and look across the same landscapes that emperors hoped to defend centuries ago. For some, it's simply a breathtaking destination. For others, it's a powerful reminder of what human determination can accomplish. Because the Great Wall was never built in a single year. It wasn't built by one emperor, or even one dynasty. It became the work of generations. Generation after generation added new stones, repaired old walls, and passed their knowledge to those who came after them. That may be the wall's greatest achievement. Not its size, but its ability to unite the efforts of countless people across nearly 2,000 years of history. Even today, as the morning sun rises above its ancient watchtowers, the Great Wall continues to stand as one of humanity's greatest reminders that while empires may disappear, extraordinary achievements can outlive them all. But perhaps its greatest lesson has nothing to do with war. It has everything to do with the people who refused to give up. The Great Wall of China was never just a wall. It was the product of generations who believed that protecting their future was worth every sacrifice. It witnessed the rise of emperors, the fall of dynasties, the thunder of armies, and the quiet determination of ordinary people whose names have long been forgotten. For more than 2,000 years, it has endured war, harsh weather, earthquakes, and the relentless passage of time. Not because it was impossible to destroy, but because every generation chose to preserve what the previous generation had built. Today, millions come here to admire its breathtaking beauty. They see towering walls, ancient watchtowers, and spectacular mountain landscapes. But the true wonder of the Great Wall isn't measured in kilometers, or in the number of bricks that still remain. Its true greatness lies in what it represents: human determination, ingenuity, perseverance, and the extraordinary things people can achieve when they work toward a common purpose. History often remembers emperors, generals, and victories, but the Great Wall reminds us that history is also built by countless ordinary people, whose names may be forgotten, but whose work can inspire the world for centuries. Perhaps that's why the Great Wall continues to stand as one of humanity's greatest achievements. Not because it is perfect, but because it tells a story that is timeless. A story of survival, a story of resilience, and a story of a civilization that refused to give up. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of history's greatest wonders. If you enjoy exploring the untold stories behind the world's most extraordinary places and events, Consider subscribing for more documentaries every week. Until next time.